Namaskar.
Namaste.
We are fortunate that Dr. Anupama Hoskere ji is amongst us. As we all know that Sanskar Bharati is an all India organization working in the field of art, artists and culture. We wish to know the vision of different Vidwans from different areas, different genre. And today, Dr. Anupama ji is amongst us. Dr. Anupama Hoskere is a household name synonymous with the art form of puppetry, and she is residing in Bangalore. She has been awarded Sangeet Natak Akademi Award by Central Sangeet Natak Akademi for her puppetry. Puppetry is the main field which Anupama ji has chosen to express, but she is equally well trained in Bharatanatyam also. We formally welcome Dr. Anupama ji once again to this show Sanskriti Darshan. Anupama ji, however, I have given your introduction in a nutshell, but if you wish to say few words about yourself for the benefit of our viewers, kindly come forward.
Namaskar to all the viewers. To put it in a sentence, I am madly in love with Bharata, my country, and also equally passionate about performing arts. And any work I do would be to balance both. And the love for my country is not that of which is connected with the material causes of the country. It is with the experiential causes of the nation. So it is beyond a transactional state. It is with the experiential state that first the brain started cognizing what is so beautiful about my country. And the mind started pondering about, yes, why is this so? How is this so? And later, I have abandoned both and I'm just there. And this is me for you.
So nicely put forward. So nicely put. Very nice. Tell me a little bit about your gurus, especially uh, in the field of puppetry. How did you learn this art?
Um, I looked around me, and inside me was the textbook about India, about Bharata. And outside me, I was seeing gaps which didn't match. We have Satyam Vada Dharmanchara, and then Satyameva Jayate is there. And then in our country, we have Kshana. The time between two thoughts is measured. For everything, we look for a muhurta, which is a span of 48 minutes, which we need to prefix and follow. I said, where are all these gone? What happened to us? And why are we become one adjust country? And these things led me into, I must say this, into Ramakrishna Ashrama one day. I was so angry. I said, what's going on in our country? And here I am looking for Harishchandra puppet show or a story of Harishchandra is continuously there in my mind. And outside, there is no match. And then I went into Ramakrishna Ashrama quite not so happy. But I said, let me see what these people have to say because they are holding the staff of all of this, of Dharma in the country. To my luck that day, Swami Harshananda was talking about the problems of Rama and Dasharatha. See, the higher you are, the more your problems are. Your problems are exactly proportional to your capacities. So if you think you have more problems, that means you're a very capable person. If you think you have less problems, that means your capacity is not heard. And then I said, okay, I really learned from that. I said, my attitude has to change. And then a question kept popping up. Okay, something is not all right. This is not all right. That is not all right. What am I doing about it? And then I became a self proclaimed culture educator. I said, see, I became all right. I had everything in this world, possibly education, whatever. And then I said, I got fixed in the sense my aligned because I understood where my faults were. And I said, if I hadn't had the culture education to walk into this Ramakrishna Ashrama, to figure out who am I, then, well, there would be no solution. I would have just maybe gone to a psychiatrist. Who knows? Then I said, we have to give this culture to our children. We have to make them understand their roots. We have to give all of this. And having lived very close to Disneyland, I was fascinated with a combination of art and engineering. That's what puppetry is for you: design and engineering, design and art. And then I went looking for a puppet teacher. And in Sri M.R. Ranganatha Rao, I found a guru who was teaching the Karnataka style of puppetry. We learned from him, and my two kids and I learned from him first. And then I started, because I already had a dance background, I had a literature background, a philosophy background, and an engineering background. I started working on my own theater and shows. And as I started working, I also toured to build a bridge. See, we are not Udbhava Murtis. We have a past, we have a future. We are a speck, but a speck in the river. For me to understand what was before me is very important. And for me to also figure out whatever I do, how does it contain in the future? How does it affect the future is very important. So I toured whole of Karnataka. Wherever I heard there is puppetry, I went there and very humbly requested for knowledge from them. And whatever they gave, I took. Sometimes it was useful, sometimes it was questionable. But I learned what has happened before us. Why has puppetry come to a point like this, where, not many people know about it? It had its peak. So what can I contribute towards it? These were my questions. And well, the rest is history. I started making my shows and carving my puppets, and theater happened, puppet theater happened, and people were very happy. And that's pretty much what it is.
Very true. We are nothing but a speck, very rightly said. Anupama ji, you just mentioned that Karnataka style of puppetry. Uh, our viewers know very little about the puppetry, though they might have seen it from their childhood, and nowadays even in TV shows and other areas. But can you define other forms of puppetry which are prevalent in India, or even worldview will help us? So,
Okay. So
little elaboration about
first, pardon me,
little elaboration about the puppetry.
I'll start with the philosophy of puppetry and its history in India. See, in the Indian art pyramid, we have to take it as a pyramid. The top of the pyramid is experiential of bliss, ananda. The topmost triangle of the pyramid will have music. So, music, you immediately reach to that point. No material is required, no accessories are required. It can be you and yourself. I'm talking about vocal. Next would be the instrumental music, where you would need your instrument. After that comes dance, where you can still reach that ecstasy with the help of music. And then comes Chitrakala, Shilpakala, theater, where you need the material. And of course, the bottom rung today would be cinema, which does reach to the people, but understand right from top, you have a trickle down into society. So as you go down, the spectrum of the pyramid, the area of the pyramid becomes larger. If we slice a pyramid, the top is less. So lesser people can, you need more training, let me put it this way, to appreciate something. As you come down, you need less and less training, and more of the masses can enjoy this. And then below this comes the Utsava Sampradayas. We have festivities. You have colors. Holi is coming up. You have holy colors. You have flowers in the market. You have bangles. You have saris. And we have banana mango leaves which we tie, all kinds of flowers, decorations, and all of this is the Utsava Sampradaya. Textiles, Rangoli, all of this becomes the Utsava Sampradaya. Now there is a trickle down, and Janapada also comes there. Between the Utsava Sampradaya and the theatre, there is Janapada where there is people celebrate. It is also one kind of Utsava, joy of life. Now between this, it is a sandwich. There is first a trickle down from top above, and then puppetry stands in Janapada and theatre. Now, this is the slice of puppetry which has existed in India for at least 5,000 years. Now, how do I know this is 5,000 years? In the Bhagavata, when Rukmini elopes with Krishna, Shishupala falls down, crestfallen. He's ready to give up his life. He says, the love of my life is gone. I cannot find somebody more beautiful, and so on and so forth. But then Jarasandha, his friend, who's a negative character, but here a good friend, he says, O Shishupala, yatha darumayi yoshi nrityate kuhakeche. Just as the entertainer pulls the strings of the wooden dolls, Ishvara tantra miho sukha dukkha yoho. Tantroya mihate sukha dukkha yoho. Just like that, Ishvara, when he pulls the strings for us of sukha and dukkha, we go up and down. So he says, this is a cycle of life. The cycle goes up and down. Get up, my friend. And it goes up. Now, what do we know? See, if at that time of the Bhagavata period, Jarasandha is commonly talking to Shishupala about the wooden dolls where the entertainer pulls the strings. In today's language, it is wooden string puppet. So this is the antiquity of puppetry in India on one side. Historically, of course, Hanuman is the first shadow puppet. We have Surya, who is the source of light, Hanuman, the object, and then we have Surasana, Simhika, Rahu's mother, catching the shadow. There is shadow play. Valmiki Maharshi writes that his shadow is caught. So we have the first imagination of shadow puppet there. Later we have Chaya Nataka. Then we have in Katha Sarit Sagara, there is a mention of, Somadeva is a Kashmiri poet, there is a mention of yantra, puppets made out of mechanics. So here Swayamprabha is flying. She's Maya, architect's daughter. She's flying in the air and she lands on terraces with a suitcase. She's not very young. She's a teenager. She opens the suitcase. Out come puppets which move on their own and they go water the plant. They will dance. They can play an instrument. And by showing off these objects, she attracts the attention of whomever she wants and becomes their friend. So here is a mention of a mechanized puppet. So this is historical. And then we have in Bala Ramayana, we have, which is about 10th, 11th century period, there is a Nataka of Ravana and Sita. And within the Nataka, there is another Nataka where Sita is a puppet. There is a puppet show happening in a theatrical show. And in the Sita's mouth, it is said there is a bird which can speak, which can sing, not speak, sing. So when the puppet Sita sings or professes her feelings, the actor Ravana within the actor within the actor Ravana, that is a puppet show in a drama. So here, actor Ravana forgets that it is a puppet and he goes to hug Sita in the show. Of course, after the disaster happens, that is different. But the capture of imagination that a human being can mistake a puppet to be alive. So that doesn't mean that you are not recognizing it as a puppet. It is just that the theatrics, the puppetry act is so grand that for a second you forget that it is not human. So this has been the potential of puppetry in India. So now later on we have puppetry in the Saraswati Basin, then puppetry of the Vidarbha region, and puppetry in the Dravida nations. And then we had some time ago done what occurred to me was wherever there is a rice belt, their puppetry has grown. be it Sri Lanka, be it Bharata, be it Vietnam. Why? See, when there is after the seeds are the seeds are sown and the seedlings come up, they stagnate water in the fields. There are little free time. So here, one influenced the other, and puppetry grew as a lifestyle, not even an art form, in these rice belt regions. Even today, we find prominent puppet shows. See, we start with Sri Lanka, then we have Kerala, we have Tamil Nadu, we have Karnataka, Orissa, West Bengal, and then you go into Northeastern, everybody has it. Puppets are there. And then most of them have it. And then outside in Indonesia, Burma, everywhere it continues. And the nice thing is, it is very similar. What is different is language becomes little different. The attire becomes different depending upon the material. And depending upon the population, the size of the puppet changes. If it is thinly populated, puppet size still remains small. Where there are lots of people, you have to entertain, say, 2,000 people, you need large puppets. So like this, there is if you take the map of India, you will find mild changes progressing everywhere. And how it plays between West Bengal and Indonesia is very identical. Between Orissa goes with West Bengal style as well as Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala styles. And other than this, major puppetry is found in Madhya Pradesh, it is there, Old Vidarbha, and then Saraswati Basin in Rajasthan. So these are the different regions where puppetry has developed. And there are vrittis. See, we have Kaishiki Vritti, Bharati Vritti. And similar to that, in the puppet styles of the land as described, we can find similar, whether it is quiet. You know, in Karnataka puppetry, we have Lasya Pradhana. Or some in Uttara Karnataka, we will have Veera Rasa happening. Okay, Tandava is seen. So, depending upon, if you just analyze, keeping the vrittis of Bharata's Natyashastra and put an image, one more slide of puppetry on that, you will see there is a 90% match to this. Next, if you see the Aharyas of Natyashastra, I would say Yakshagana and puppetry is closer to it than even the classical dances of today. The multi-layered necklaces, the male ornamentation, the female ornamentation, all of this are kept like textbook still. So to understand Natyashastra's Aharya chapter, the traditional and classical puppetry of India is a very beautiful example. So the ornaments are all made out of wood. It is all done with foiling. On top of it, we do foil work. And so these tell us that puppetry in India is as old as theatre in India. How old is theatre? Next question. In Ramayana, Bharadwaja's ashrama is there. Bharata comes looking for Rama. First, Bharadwaja Muni is suspicious of Bharata. But then he realizes that Bharata is really, really, he knows, he tells Bharata also that I want the world to know what you are. So I have asked you these questions. And then he says, please don't be shy, bring your army, we have to entertain them. So entertaining an army which protects the country was Indian tradition forever. And the grandest of pandals and stages are put, the best of food is served, and the most alluring shows are done. Theatre, dance, all Natya is done. And this is our culture, our heritage. So if there at that period, this was established already, this is as old as civilization in India. Now, how old is civilization? I shall leave that question unanswered. Next, you asked me, what are the different kinds? Broadly, depending upon the control systems, we have shadow puppet, which is made out of leather. And then previously it would be done out of deer leather, sometimes camel leather. Now the question comes immediately, did you kill animals to make puppets? See, life and death are natural processes. We are born and we will die. So all animals, at some point, they will die. So it is said that even Dharmavya, the story is there in the Mahabharata, where he says, I do not kill animals. I just do a profession. So there have been professional shadow puppet players whose job was to take the dead skin of the dead animal, treat it, make it into puppets, and then play shows. And then in deep South India, the puppeteers are Bhagavatas. They pick up they get the puppets made. They don't know how to treat this, and they just do artistic work of playing the puppet. The artistic work of making the puppet is done by somebody else. So this is still there. And interestingly, you will find the language of most of the shadow puppeteers in India is Marathi. It is a dialect of Marathi. They're called Shillekyetas in Karnataka and by different names in different. But I became aware of this because we have an international festival where we invite different puppet troops from different parts of India, and I hear the same dialect when they're speaking. And soon I realized most of the shadow puppeteers in India are migrants from the region of Vidarbha. So Maharashtra, Marathi dialect is definitely there. Other than in Tamil Nadu, where they do speak Tamil, but it is over time that they have changed. But they claim to know this language very well. Then we have the wooden puppets. Wooden puppets in India are of three categories. One is the string puppet, one and another rod puppet, and thirdly, it is jointed puppets, Kilu Bombay. See, the mechanized puppets which Katha Sagara talks about is found in the Kilu Bombays. They are called Kilu Bombay in Karnataka. Kilu means joint, key also. All puppets have joints. The Kilu Bombay can be, it can have a gear system, and it is a pop-up puppet. So these pop-up puppets in the West are called jumping jacks. Now, interestingly, I had found this puppet in Mysore Museum, and it was so beautiful. I did replicate it, but I didn't know where this was used. And during one of our trips to Czech Republic, we toured the villages. There was a festival going on. And in one of the villages, I saw the similar box. There is a wooden box with gears, and there is a puppet, and you twist the handle, and the puppet goes up and down. I said, what is this? What are you doing? Because I don't understand the Czech language. And they said, oh, this is to attract your attention while we are telling a story. So it is to make a story very interesting that these pop-up puppets are used. And next, of course, came the line saying, oh, you're from India, motherland of puppetry, namaste. Then they go on saying chai, chai. And I'm like, yeah. But that was the first time I heard that India is the motherland of puppetry. And a few more questions. See, we have I'll come to the next category of string puppets. So this is about the Kilu Bombay or the pop-up puppets. You find these as articles, as toys. Wherever there has been ancient civilization, for example, and a very, very thriving civilization, in Varanasi, even today, these puppets are made. There have some mango wood toys which are made now, and these jumping jacks and their cousins, because we have a climbing acrobat, you have a jumping acrobat. These are beautiful handheld toys, which I wish come back into the mainstream of the nation. They're still there. And you talk to these people in Varanasi saying, excuse me. So, how did this come? They tell me, hum Dwarka se aaye hain. So they are migrants from Dwarka. So they migrated where there was economy. See how we have Mumbai today? Kashi or Varanasi has been the commercial capital of India for a very, very long time. And here you see a lot of these wooden art forms which have migrated into that land, and they are doing well today. And that is very, very nice, but not as well as they could do. They haven't yet reached the potential of the nation. I'm sure there can be a wider market for them if somebody understands how beautiful these toys are. They also talk about dexterity of the hand. See, anything done in our country is multifaceted. You invest in one, you get 360-degree benefit. And this is the way of the ancient, this is the way of the East. And if we can just recognize it, I'm not just advocating something for nothing. It is my experience that I talk about. So dexterity of the hand, and then the beauty of the colors, developing a taste, an aesthetic taste comes along with all of this. And being, environmentally friendly, sustainable, whether it is coloring, whether it is material, and caring. And also learning handiwork. It is very important for us to be adept with whatever limbs we are given. In addition to, of course, in dance, we use it in theater, we use it in different way, puppetry, we use it in a different way. But for generally, this is good. So these kind of puppets, the jumping jacks, are popular all over the West. Anywhere you can find them. And they are nowadays found in railway stations, in bus stops. It's there, only you need to open your eyes and see it. Next comes the wooden puppet, which is a rod puppet. These rod puppets are having rods for control systems. So there are two rods you hold like this, and then you play the puppet, and then the ring is on top of your head, and when you nod, the puppet nods. When you shake your head, the puppet shakes its head, and they are quite large, and you wear it, and you play these puppets. These were the favorites of the Mysore Maharaja and the Maharani, and they patronized it a lot. And then older than that, we have it in the Vijayanagar kingdom. So we can find a history up to there and beyond that in the stories. Okay. So these wooden puppets, which are rod puppets, they're called rod puppets of the south, are found in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Orissa, and then in Italy. So Italy, if you go to Sicily, which is old Italy, exact same structure. See, we have two rods. If you go to Uttara Karnataka, I first saw this in Sicily before I saw it in India. Sicilians had a dual thing, one rod and one string. If you wanted to do arti with lamp lit, right? So you have to hold it carefully. There may be oil in the lamp, or arti itself should not spill. So when the arti is held, the rigid connection is put with the rod. Or when they say go, 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 or sing a song, they want a loose connection, they'll take up a string. This I saw in Italy. And then we called Rani Bennuru team from Karnataka to perform in one of our festivals. And they had a very, very beautiful scheme for the same. So then I said, okay, somewhere we met. They met us, we met them. So the exchange of ideas has been eternal in India. Hence we are the largest living tradition in the world. Nobody can stop us. We are unstoppable because we are a thinking race. We think, and if it is useful to mankind, if it makes things efficient, if it is nice, we pick it up. We integrate it. We make it part of our country. And we proceed not giving up the wisdom of the ancient. And this is the path that puppetry has chosen to be in India. So these are the rod puppets. Then if you cross West Bengal, or if you go into West Bengal, parts of Orissa, Danger Putul, they have rod from behind. It's a stick. See, here rod is held to control the puppet and make the actions of the puppet. There, the rod is held to lift the puppet up. So the bottom is covered and only the top of the puppet is seen. These puppets don't often show leg movement, and they just have hand movements. And they do theater, puppet theater like this. This is very popular in West Bengal. They're big. West Bengal puppets are big. Now Uttar Pradesh also has this. You have this kind of rod puppets in UP. Delhi region, of course, has a little bit of everything. And then we have rod puppets in interiors of West Bengal also, and interior Orissa, Indonesia. Indonesia has major of this wayangs. They have shadow puppet and this kind of a rod puppet which is held from below. So next is in the wooden puppet itself, we have the string puppets. String puppets again start from Sri Lanka. They found in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and then Orissa, and then West Bengal, and then Madhya Pradesh, and then in Rajasthan, and then Uttar Pradesh. It's used to be there here, but it is not seen much. Gujarat has had all of these before, but in the recent times, not much visible. Too much of load of contemporary fell on Gujarat. So we see about how many years ago? 12 years ago, my daughter, who knows my passion for my daughter Prakriti, who traveled as part of her architecture final year tour, saw that between the borders of Gujarat and Rajasthan, such they're called trick puppets. India is a master of trick puppets. It is specialized puppets, and I will spend a couple of minutes on that. So she brought me such beautiful trick puppets from that area. I have gone again and again looking for it. I cannot see it in those regions. Now, Rajasthan has a lot of trick puppets, and Gujarat, obviously, I have those samples. So they have had a lot of these trick string puppets. They're very entertaining, and it's like it's a lot of fun to play and watch these puppets. And then in Karnataka, we've had a lot of these trick puppets. And of course, in the West, they're called specialized string puppets. Puppet walks, puppet does action, sometimes jaw movement, sometimes eye movement, and all of this is there. And this is regular puppet. Now, there is, for example, Kamba Ramayana, if you take Shurpanaka or even Putana, let us see in Krishna's stories, Putana comes as a Rakshasi in some presentations. And then she sees people of Nandagokula, they look very beautiful to her, and she gets disgusted with her own look. And a story goes on that she changes her form. She's a Kamarupi. She changes her form into that of a very, very beautiful woman. Now, the puppet here in India is designed. We can change one form to another. In Rajasthan, man becomes woman, double-sided. If you go to Udaipur, today also they will entertain you with it. In South, most popular is Shurpanaka, who comes as a Rakshasi, or Putana also is there, and changes into a beautiful woman and can change back into a Rakshasi when Krishna falls off. Then we have people who do tapas. For the story goes, for example, in Tripura Samhara, we have Tarakaksha, Kamalaksha, and Vidyunmali, three Rakshasa Putras who want power. They are doing tapas not for the good of the world, for power. So when they do tapas, the eldest brother body becomes Asti Panjara. It becomes a skeleton, says the story. So we have puppet forms where the body can be tossed out, and we can bring in a skeleton. That means, okay, before the body tosses out, let me go to head toss out. Sudarshana Chakra comes. Shishupala has insulted Krishna more than 100 times. Krishna says, 100 I will forgive. After that, you have to pay the price. So Shishupala insults Krishna more than 100 times. So the chakra comes and it can neatly carry Shishupala's head. This is a string puppet, which is a trick puppet. It is a specialized string puppet. Then Gajendra Moksha, the Gandharva, becomes a crocodile who catches the leg of the elephant, who is Bhakta of Vishnu. The Gajendra offers flower to Vishnu. Vishnu comes, chakra comes, and the crocodile's head is carried away. So for this kind of storytelling, we are very well equipped, the Puppet Theatre of India. It is great fun. We have done Chudala also. Chudala is a princess of Malwa who gains jnana. She becomes a Brahmajnani. And then her husband is still working towards it. And she takes care of him. And then she says, if I go like this beautiful woman, he will say, Ayo, my wife that cannot know any buddhi. She'll just say something to me. So she flips in midair, becomes Kumbha, the grandson, changes her form, Kamarupi. So such stories, Mushika Katha we are doing, where the mouse becomes the maiden, and then the mouse, she likes a mouse. Mouse says, no, human being unfit to be my wife. So the Rishi changes her back to mouse. So you see, we have playing around with the material existence, whatever it is. So these are in plenty. You can catalog 1, 2, 3, but then you see the system, if you follow, thousands you can do. And these are what we have realized is the treasure house of puppetry in Bharat. So when you want to tell stories, and why do we need these stories? See, we need efficient management. We know that, right? So if you, even today, let us say I invest into a company, I want a product, and then I have somebody to analyze it, and I say, let me know whether I am having progress or I'm going to fail. And if there is a failure indicated, I shall drop my project and I shall start something else. I'll absorb the loss. IS is the biggest investment, our life. Okay, so when you're investing life, you want somebody to tell you whether this project is a success or a failure. So we will rather do, because it's smart. This is what current management will also tell you. So when we have tools where we invest, we reap, we go to success. Box office hit, this is what an artist wants. So when I have tools and it's easy, and why don't I look at it? Okay, we had British Raj, which said, don't look at it. If you look at it, I shall put you in jail, I shall punish you, I shall banish you. Over. Those people are gone. So we have freedom to look into what is useful for us in our country, enjoy it. It's a lot of work, but it makes me happy because it's fun. It's our life. And that can be extended, like I told you, invest and extend into life. And this is what this art form teaches us. And let me continue with the rest of the world and string puppetry. So again, Europe, it is called, see, Europe, one thing we need to understand in India. Europe had power monging where the church had to control things, people's life. In Spain, especially, stories of Mary only were told using these puppets of string because they are very alive. You know, they can really, really do work on stage. So they were called marionettes. Puppets, which tell stories of Mary, are marionettes. So there was power monging. It held power, church. People protested. You have the Renaissance period. Then you have the post-Renaissance period where people said, we protest, we do puppetry for protest. Now we call this contemporary puppetry. See, in India, that situation does not exist. We are free people. Nobody did power monging with artists. Nobody told an artist, you have to do this. So we never had any protest. There was no need to protest. Unfortunately, our design textbooks don't have Indian designs. They will follow what is in the West. They will follow post-Renaissance art. Renaissance is irrelevant to us. So we have to understand, saying, okay, they took it. See, it is so hot in our country. Now summer is coming. They are all wearing, Australia, you go in this weather, they'll all be wearing thick jackets. Can I say, I will wear thick jacket because they are wearing thick jacket and they're exporting it. They made excess. So textbooks, they made excess. And they sent all over the world saying, we need to make money. Take. So here we left all our, you go to Sthapatis. In South India, you go to Swami Malay, that person picks out one thread from his pocket. Knots, many knots, Tala Pramana, he will do the most beautiful bronzes with one stick and one thread. Of course, tools he has, measurement I'm telling. Similarly, in puppetry, we have very simple designs. And then when I went to Europe and learned, they said, oh, you don't know engineering design? I'm like, hello, I've done masters in engineering. I know engineering design. I can do it. So I can do it. See, you can do AutoCAD and do also. We have done. Where we have to do, we'll do. But you understand, India has achieved this level without AutoCAD drawing. I'm not saying don't learn AutoCAD or don't do engineering drawing. All I'm saying is don't waste time where it's not required. If you want to do fancy, do. I have also done fancy. I have to learn. No? I should say I know. We have to learn everything, but we also have to think about what is the utility of this. So like that, there are hundreds and thousands of things in our country which make it very, very useful for us to lead life. Finally, what do we want? We want to be happy. We want life to be a success. What is success? Success is when you reach your potential. If you close your potential with a cement slab saying, I don't exist, whatever the West gives, I will take and paste it on me, and my head is chopped off already. So, if we are like this, how can we be successful? You can never be successful. Go to any nook corner of, I'm going to Italy soon to teach Indian puppetry. Why? I don't even know who exists, who doesn't exist. They will, when you're unprejudiced and you look at things in an unprejudiced manner, you will see the merit of things. See, I'm not putting down anything from outside. Whatever is nice, we learn. That is what I began with. But what I'm trying to tell is don't lose your potential. Because once you lose your potential, see, we have mixed architecture. Art form, fortunately, has remained form and content intact.
True.
I do have a 3D printer with which I'm trying to accessorize some puppet things. If it easily happens, let it happen. But
Uh,
my crafting technique would, I shall remain.
yeah. One thing which I wish to know, and I'm sure others will also want to know, that how puppetry is passed on to the next generation. We wish to know from you. And the last part of the this conversation will be about the museum you have, Dolls Museum. We would certainly wish to know about that also. So if you can club both in your
Yes.
answer.
So now the dance museum, shall I go first? And uh, how much of the other question would you want answered? How many?
Pardon?
The two questions.
Yeah. Any,
You
any
repeat the
we
first question again.
roughly
I
5 to 6 minutes we
no,
have.
the first question again.
First
Will you
question
repeat?
is what is your endeavor to pass on your knowledge to the next generation?
Uh, I'll take a sample of Karnataka. My research has been, senior fellowship has been in the Integrated Puppet Theatre of Karnataka. In the year 1912, there was this group of people who came together and practiced wooden puppetry as a team and in a place called Ichanuru. So the history we find here for puppetry is that of any other art. People came to learn, they were taught, they practiced, they performed, and it was an NGO. They were all farmers and zamindars, temple priests, all of them were together. They did, and Vastu Shilpis and jewelers, they were all together and they worked together as a team. There were about 10 people in the team. This is a sample we have from 1908, 1910, and then they were all, of the 10 people, 8 passed away because of the Spanish flu. So the pandemic really affected art. Now, how did people learn at that time is by choice. They came to a teacher, they learned, they practiced, they learned to make puppets. Somebody could make puppets, somebody couldn't make puppets, but they were players, and the whole system encouraged them. If it was a town, it was a village. If it was a capital city, the king's patronage was there, and hence people passed on. There was economy in the system, and it was people passed on because they could make a living with this. Today, I have classes open to anybody who wants to learn. Dhatu Puppet Patashala is going on. Weekend closes. We have one more team. I have one team of senior players and one more team of junior players who are doing shows on their own. And they're learning all aspects of this art, whether it is the books, the philosophy, the Shastra of it, the construction of it, and also with the soft puppets and muppets and anything which the world has to offer. We are abreast with it, we are learning that, and they're being taught that. And it is an unprejudiced learning. And they are there, but not too many people are learning because it's an involved art form. And as I said, you have to know everything, the crafting, and then you have to do the props, the theater, the stage, and you have to know music and dance, and you have to learn all of this. So lesser people are there, but they're there. So this is how it's going on. But one thing which would be wonderful is to introduce this, because now there has been a little bit of a wipeout of awareness of this. As the population grew, the number in the puppetry field didn't match that. So it would be good if we can introduce this at school levels, where around say fifth, sixth standards, where they can learn whatever is local and enrich from that, and also enrich the local players. So that would be very wonderful to do. And we are planning
Prepared,
on,
have you prepared a particular curriculum or syllabus for this purpose?
yes, yes, yes. There is a syllabus, and I've also taught in many university levels. See, I have taught in a few universities around Bangalore. I've taught in Paris, I've taught in Nice, I've taught in Belgium. So these are the places, Bangalore and these cities, I have taught semester courses for the college students. And for the Patashala students who come here, there is a syllabus. There is a syllabus which they follow. And then if somebody is little more capable, that is given to them. Then they go past the syllabus or go beyond. So syllabus is for those who can stay within the limits. It's not very difficult, but for those who are capable, definitely they are pushed to wherever they can go.
Is there any diploma program or something, degree program?
We don't have yet.
Okay.
And Dhatu doesn't yet have affiliation to any university. And it should be happening. We should be offering a diploma in this because there's so much to offer. There are other countries who have done it and I've done it for them. But in our country, I should do it. I've not done it. It is something I need to look at seriously and do. The museum is also going to be a space where I'm hoping an academic institution will start. My daughter is going to start her academic institution on 26th. It is getting inaugurated. So I will work with the next generation also and spread it wide to see what can be brought in, who it can service. Now, as far as the museum goes, we've had a history of dolls in India. We have a history of beautiful dolls in India made out of natural materials. We have a history of dolls which tell stories. It's a static theater and it's mind boggling beautiful. So the museum is going to be having epic stories. We've already done this during Navaratra. We've been doing it for many years and opening it to the people, and the people love it. And to me, every year after I put up everything, I stand back and look, and I have like Satvik Anubhava. I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And when such a thing of beauty exists, we thought, let us showcase this and make it a dynamic museum because we are not a static country. We are continuously moving. If I keep an object other than worship, it will not stay. So we need knowledge based, we need action based, we need integrating museums, and that's what we are looking at. Storytelling is a big part of our lives. See, I'm telling you stories now, and then everything is a story in our country, and we have all kinds of stories. So this museum will be a big storytelling building which will tell all kinds of stories of the past, the present, of our lives, something where anybody can identify with. And most of all, where little ones can come and walk around and feel proud to be an Indian. That is my dream. So they say, oh my, this is so nice. See, if you give them the feed, they will walk around with a gada and say, I'm Hanuman. And they will walk around with a bow and say, I'm Rama, or with a flute and say, I'm Krishna. And they'll be so happy jumping around, and we can add so much more slokas, stories, and costumes, and textile comes, food comes, history comes. Everything is to be integrated into this tiny little doll and this not very tiny but still small puppet, which can just bring the world to them. And that's the museum.
As an artist, I have a query running in my mind. In music, we have certain areas where we don't have kriti, where we don't have shabd. Like for example, Kalpana Swaram, or in North Indian music we call it alap. Similarly, in dance also, there are a few movements which are completely without words, which have no expression, but the complete aesthetics working for it. Do we have such movements in puppetry also, or it has to be compulsory to tell a story always?
No, we have many forms there. See, in puppetry, there are Dasharupakas you have, right?
Yeah.
We run not the Dasha, we have about 4 or 5 parallels here. So, the Satvika, see, Abhinaya will come, Chaturveda Abhinaya is there. So, Angika is met with, that is what it is. So, the Vachika can either be words or music. So, it can be swaras. Vachika is there, it can be with the instrument or with the vocal swaras or with just an alap. And that Vachika will work here also. So many a times when the Satvika, see Satvika in with a human being, of course, when you are playing your instrument, it has to come through your Swarakalpanas. And your bhava gets translated into whatever you are playing. It is very similar in puppetry. So even though there are no words, but there is Vachika, the Satvika Anubhava comes first from the combination of Aharya and Angika, and then Satvika Anubhava of the player. So when your bhavas, when you become one with your puppet and you play it, gets translated to your audience. And that is when the puppeteer feels a romantic. So that is the ultimate in this Anubhava, but it is existing, it exists, and it is.
At the end, anything which you wish to say to our viewers regarding art, artist, aesthetics, Indian culture, anything?
Explore yourself. Don't block where you come from. Look at your home. Look at your traditions. There may be power monging with the person who's giving you the tradition. Ignore it. Be a scientist and discover what this tradition is for and what role it plays in your life. Because you don't need to reinvent a wheel. You can go and spend that time doing something else more effective. So when you're already on a rung in the ladder, don't step down. Pick up wherever you are. From there, go higher. And in order to do that, you have to not be blind. You have to investigate where you come from, understand, absorb, incorporate, and then consolidation, it is called. See, in India, we consolidate. In the puppet theater, I consolidate every knowledge, every action, every memory, and I consolidate and I build up. So, this is the Indian path to success. And you're very blessed. If you go into the world, you'll understand we have family as a unit. So instead of ignoring that, I would say learn from that, whatever you can. Well, no, but nothing is compulsory. If you don't want, leave it. But before you leave it, learn about it, learn about your life, learn about your origins, learn about the Rishi Parampara. Most useful for me has been the Rishi Parampara in India. Why? Because it is impersonal and there is no ego associated with it. See, they did work for mankind. The stories there are for mankind. It is not for me or you. I don't matter. I'm part of the wave. But I represent a energy which can use this. So for any artist here, I would say first explore that, have fun with it. It's really interesting. The stories you have there are it makes life fun. And the tools, see, when I was in a board meeting, I used to be when I was in engineering, my answer would come part like that and I would get selected because I had this backing of this stories and I knew when a klesha, that means a conflict comes, what is the right answer? So these are tools. These are tools just like you learned the tables, mathematical tables, right? 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4. These are tools of life. And higher you go, the more you need. And to keep in equilibrium. See, success or failure, very difficult to handle. To be in success or in failure and still be a happy human being, you need these stories. So enjoy, and there is plenty available in any language. Go, we have now the net available where you can surf and get whatever you want. Once you experience, there is no going back. I wish you all the best and a very happy times in figuring out your own roots and your own greatness.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anupamaji. It was a pleasure to talking to you. Thank you.
Namaste, Chetanji. Thank you so much.